We are now the third largest OEM globally. And then definitely it is not new, but for the last 6 years or so, we have come to the conclusion that the USA is the most important market for us globally and is meant to continue to do so. So today we have factories in Alabama and in Georgia, and just 3 weeks ago we opened a brand new factory in Savannah, Georgia, to increase production by another 500,000 cars. So we produce about 40% of the cars that we sell in America here in America. And then we are, with these 500,000 more cars, we're going to get to 1.2 million cars produced. It's a big undertaking.
I do have one minor correction. I actually leased my Genesis. I didn't buy it. And I kind of wish I had, because I'm worried about car prices rising. And you did promise that you wouldn't raise your prices through June 2nd. And I'm curious, I'm not just asking for myself either, what happens after June 2nd to that price pledge?
Well, first and foremost, you know, as mentioned, we are very committed to this market. We announced just 3 weeks ago in the White House with our executive chair, Mr. Chung, our big commitment to America with a $21 billion investment in this country in the next 5 years. So this means that we are going to increase capacity up to 1.2 million cars, but we are also going to increase everything that has to do with the supply chain to be able to produce those cars, including green steel. So we're building a $6 billion state-of-the-art green steel factory. We call it the electric arc furnace in Louisiana. And in addition to that, we are investing in new technologies like Boston Dynamics, bringing more chips to America with NVIDIA, also in autonomous driving with Motional, and even with eVTOLs, Supernal here. So this is really big. So thanks to those investments, we're able to produce cars like yours. I'm glad you like it. GV70 is the most popular Genesis, followed by the GV80, and it's produced here in America, in our plant in Alabama.
So as a company that has made bigger commitments, $21 billion through 2028, this is another 14,000 direct jobs that you've reported. What do you think more largely of the tariff posturing by the Trump administration? Do you think some of it is actually working to bring more factory jobs onshore in the United States, or do you think that there's a real risk here that a lot of component parts get so expensive that it thwarts a lot of buying in this country?
Well, in our case, we actually took the decision to invest in our new Savannah plant during the first Trump administration. So you don't build a plant overnight, and you don't build plants thinking on incentives. So we took this decision some time ago, and then this came to fruition just 3 weeks ago, as mentioned. And then we don't look at things in the short term. Obviously, we like free trade. We think in our global business, because the components come from all over the world, free trade is the best for our business. But our commitment is such that we have to navigate through this situation. And in fact, when all these tariffs and uncertainty came to life, we wanted to reassure our customers that we would guarantee their prices. So that's why we came up with this, the Hyundai Customer Assurance Program, to ensure we will not increase prices during this period. Then after that, we will evaluate the situation, but we will always focus on bringing the best product to the market with the highest safety rates. We're #1 in America in terms of top safety pick plus, and then with the best quality and good features. And you have to always be competitive regardless of tariffs.
Can I ask about the rest of your supply for the U.S. market? I think about 40% you make in the U.S., right? I'm pretty sure that you produce cars in Mexico for the rest of the world, and then we get a lot of South Korean imports from Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis. Is that am I doing the math correctly? And then how does that Korean supply look? Are you talking to the White House? Are you talking to South Korea about getting carve-outs?
Well, in our case, in the case of Hyundai Motor Company, we produce in the U.S. We don't produce in Mexico, really maybe very minor, but we took a conscious decision to invest here in the USA. The rest of the production comes mainly from South Korea. Well, we are part of the Alliance for Automotive Innovation. John Bosella, the president, is representing the industry and is conveying to the government the needs that we have in the industry, which are pretty much common across the board. And then we know that there are some discussions between the South Korean government and the White House. We are not actively part of that discussion, and then obviously I cannot reveal what they talk about. But definitely we all want to ensure that there is a plain level field for everybody, so that we can compete in good terms in the market, and we want to be competitive. I maintain this message for the consumer. We will be competitive, and then the market will decide, depending on the supply and demand, if there's going to be some price increase or not. But again, we need to be competitive.
Right, so that's what I was wondering. I mean, what does competitive mean? Does that mean you're eating the costs to keep your market share, keeping your costs that consumers pay, car buyers pay, and willing to take the hit? Or, how does that dynamic work?
That dynamic is not different to the way it's been done over the last 30 years or so. It's just simply, in the short term, an additional burden to manage, given all the implications of the supply. Again, our job is to focus on what we can control. The cost is something we can control. How are we responding to the increase in tariffs? Localizing, investing more in the country so that we don't get to be hit by tariffs. That's a simple solution. And then on the revenue side, we'll have to see how the market reacts. If we have the opportunity to take maybe some reduced incentives, increase price here or there, we will do. But you're not going to see like a huge increase all of a sudden, or we are not planning to remove cars from the portfolio simply because of the tariffs, etc. Again, the most important is a good product, safe product, good quality, good features, and be competitive in the market. And then the rest is our job to try to optimize through localization.